a great week. It's amazing how quickly these weeks go. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel that although we're moving around less, we're busier? Does everyone else have that feeling? I feel like I was on the phone with a friend of mine and he said to me, and it's amazing how this is happening at so many levels, how people are appreciating things that they've never appreciated before. And in one day, two different people said almost the same comment to me. One person said, how I miss getting on a plane. This guy had traveled like crazy, always complained that he was on an airplane. And he's like, man, I miss that airplane, because at least on the airplane, your brain is off on the TSA line, and then on the zone 3 line, and then sitting down, and you get to read and you get to walk around a little bit. It's just now it's nonstop. To me, I find it to be incredible how we've adapted so quickly. It shows the resilience of the human being. It shows the resilience of us personally and how busy things have become. But it also it's scary in that we can take this period of time that we're in right now and sort of miss it almost completely. It could be almost a really quick bit of change, a hibernation period. We go into this cave and then we come out of it and we haven't really changed much. We're missing the opportunity that's in front of us. And for those that are joining for the first time, thank you for joining us. For those that are back, thanks for coming back. I want to begin with some technical stuff. I got a couple of comments yesterday, so thanks. First of all, thank you everybody for the mazel tovs. Really appreciate that. It means a lot for everyone that took the time to write a note. It means a lot to me and my family to hear it. For those that are interested, I got a couple of questions. We Zoom this every day live with God's help. And the meeting ID is 852-739-699 for those that want. And then this is streaming live on Momentum's Facebook page, and then afterwards on demand on our WhatsApp group called The Daily Boost, on my Instagram, my Facebook, YouTube, and on the podcast Unlocking Greatness. So for those that are interested, it's there, and I hope you get to join us. And we thank those that have posted comments and questions. Hopefully we'll get to them now. Today's a big day, because today is a day called Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the beginning of the month. We celebrate every beginning of the month, because what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to see, I think what God is trying to get to us, is this idea that you're not physical. You're not a body. You have a body, but you're not a body. And there's the distinction in our minds between having something and being something. This happens a lot with businesses and people that work for something for a long time. People say, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. We very quickly collapse what you do with who you are. What do you do? Oh, you're a lawyer. That's who you are. What you do and what you have are not who you are. They're hats that you wear. And some people can never take those hats off. There are some people whose whole lives, they are the businessman or woman that they think they are. They wake up in the morning, they go to bed at night, and all they are is what they do. And sometimes it kills the other parts of their lives. They're not really a spouse. They have a spouse, but they haven't given up being the thing that they do, right? So they wake up in the morning and they're still the lawyer. When they look at their wife, they're still the lawyer. When they come home to see their children, they're still the lawyer. What they do every day, being a lawyer, becomes now who they are, and they take it in every area. And they forget that what you do isn't who you are. You see this sometimes with people that are a little bit older or younger. Age doesn't matter, but I've seen this across the board with individuals whose industries got disrupted. They've been in the flooring business their whole lives. That's what we do. And all of a sudden the business gets disrupted. And now they can't come to terms with change. This is happening as we speak, because right now as we talk, there are businesses that are disrupted right now. There are people that are going to we're right now living in a new world, and we're going to come out to a new world. And in this new world, there may be industries that are totally different, and there may be jobs that don't exist anymore. And the individuals that do those jobs until now, they can wake up one morning and go, who am I? Some people can't slow down. They can't retire. It's not because that they don't want to. It's because who they are was that job for so many years. You've seen this sometimes even in a much more deeper way. And I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I just want to touch on it. Even individuals who lost loved ones, they lose a piece of who they are because of what they've done. And for those who want to talk more about this, we'll do that offline. This is a much more of a deeper subject than where we are right now. But this is the concept. What you do is not who you are. What you have is not who you are. And when you can create that distinction, your whole life begins to change. Right? Once we start to create a chasm, a distinction between who I am and what I do and what I have, we become free from it. I was on the phone a year ago with an individual who lost his job. And what bothered him most was that he couldn't go on vacation with his family. And I said, so stay home with them. And he goes, no, you don't get it. Like in my group, we all go to this fancy resort. It's like who I am. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not who you are. It's not who your family is. And if you think you need to be portraying yourself as financially at a level when you're not, you're lost. Because now you've taken your family's identity and connected it to a certain net worth. And in many ways, you think you've elevated it, you've debased it. And if your family is as happy in the house as they are in the resort, now you've elevated your family. And so what's interesting about today and why this is so relevant to what we're talking about, which is how do we overcome challenges, this idea is at the core of Judaism, at the core of religiosity. What God is trying to hit us with all the time is do not get confused in thinking that you're a body. You're a soul. You have a body. You have a brain. This is the yesterday for those who were here yesterday. If not, just check it out on wherever it is. We spoke at the beginning, and we're going to get into it more because we got to unpack it. I had the opportunity yesterday to be on this great show, the Rabbi Reuven Ep.16 show on Torah Anytime. And we were talking about growth, and I'm like, we do this every morning. It takes a long time. With God's help, hopefully we'll be together for a long time till Mashiach. But we have to develop this together. That's what we do. That's what we're trying to do. But the idea that we're trying to get underneath is acting as if, is dealing with challenge, is overcoming challenge. But at the underpinning of all of this, like what rests underneath all of the strategies are like foundational points that if they're broken, you can build this beautiful building, but it tips. You could act as if, you can have gratitude. You can understand that the firestorm is good for me. All the things that we've spoken about this past week. And unless they're resting on very strong foundational supports, they'll tip when it gets really hard. So you wake up in the morning and be like, I'm grateful. Things are amazing. You come down and you wake up in the morning, I can breathe, and you look at your family and you look at the roof is fine, nothing's leaking, there's food in my fridge, and you go and I could see, and you're literally like you can hear the song playing in your ears. As you come downstairs, you see that person or get that news, and you're blown. Because that idea of gratitude has not developed itself on a strong foundational point. I'm sorry for the background noise. We're living in, this is the sounds of the suburbs in the morning sometimes. But what rests on it all, what rests in it all, is a couple of key foundational pillars. And one of the most important foundational pillars is the idea that we are not our bodies. We are not even our minds. Because if who you are is your brain, you can't change it. And if who you are is your body, then you can't change at any level that you want to. If your mind is controlling whether you eat or not, then you can't change how you eat. Because who's doing the changing? Like if you really deep down think about it for a second, if you look at that cabinet and you see those things that you shouldn't be eating, and you've been eating that thing for 10 years, and your brain in it, if you open it up, has a connection between seeing food and saying, I don't eat based on health, I eat based on desire. When you make that connection together, and then there's some part of you that says, no. I want to not eat that. Who's saying that? Your brain isn't saying it because your brain is conditioned to eat whatever it wants. Who? Which part of you is saying, I want to be more? Which part of you wakes up in the morning sometimes and goes, I want to become more. I want to overcome this. What part of you does that? It's a piece of something much deeper called your soul. And your soul isn't based on this world. Your soul isn't subject to this world. Your soul doesn't get thrown by challenge. Your soul understands in its wisdom, because it comes from the creator of this universe, that it is the challenge that it's going to bring it out into your mind and your body. And the frame shift, the ability to change between seeing oneself as a body that has moments of inspiration and seeing oneself as a soul, something metaphysical that has to use things to operate in this world, and it has a body and it has a mind, and the soul's job, the true you, that inner peace that's inside you, that is indestructible, that'll last forever, that inner peace inside you that can do things that the rest of you says, no, I can't. That little thing, that little piece that you've always sort of known about and felt about, but maybe not heard loud enough because the world is so noisy. That little piece inside you, that's what's in charge, and it has things to do with it. And when we understand that, that's the idea of Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the beginning of the month. We are constantly being told and taught that there's a beginning. It starts again. There's a freshness to your life. Every morning, every month, every year, there are these moments where we can take a stand and go, this is not who I am anymore. This is the concept that we're going to hit a lot on, called be, do, have. We live in a world of do, have, be. We've been taught as kids, do things, to have things, to be something. Do work, have good grades, be a good student. Do work, have money, be rich or wealthy. Do good deeds, have a lot of reward, and be righteous. As little kids, that's how you do it, because you can't have a conversation with a little child about who do you want to be. Their minds aren't open enough. Little kids can't grasp abstract concepts. Which is why if you see a little kid as they deal with challenge, it's very different. If you watch different members of your family deal with challenge, the one that is the most concrete is your littlest child, your smallest child. They just want to know if the cookies are going to be in the cabinet, and if I'm still going to be able to have mommy with me, and if I'm still going to be able to eat. They're not thinking like conceptually. They're not thinking in the abstract. They're children. So when we raise children, we raise them through a world of do, have, be. Just do this thing, honey. Just do it. Yeah. Just go to school and do it. What does this mean? How does it work out? Don't worry about it. Like, what does math do for you in 10 years from now? Don't worry about it. Like, don't think about like the impact of doing homework on your larger life. It's too complex for you. Just do work. Yes, we can. And we deal with kids and we train them to be individuals who see do, have, be. And what happens to us as we get older is we never adapt past that to shift it from do, have, be to be, do, have. And be, do, have is I need to decide who I am. And that decision who I am can change literally in a moment. Now, I got to do those things, which can take months or years. But what I do is a product of who I am. And who I am is a dynamic source of energy that comes beyond this world. When we get that, when we live in that, we live in a much different way, a much different world. We live in a world where anything is possible. We live in a world that when you look out into the world, we don't think that we know what tomorrow is going to bring. We don't think we know what we can and can't do. We don't think we know we can't. And when we go into that world of challenge, like we spoke about yesterday, that world of challenge now changes for us, because it goes from, I don't know how to do this, and I've never done this before, so that means that I can't do it. Somebody please help. To, I don't know how to do this, and I've never done this before, but that means there's a piece of me inside that's about to come out. Maybe somebody help, maybe somebody don't help, but that excitement for seeing what I could become in challenge versus that hopelessness of I can't go through this in the challenge is the small distinction in our minds that is the difference between winning and losing, between succeeding and failing, between overcoming and getting knocked out. It's that distinction between I'm looking at a circumstance that I've never seen before, or that seems to be something that's going to knock me out. And I'm going into my brain, and there's no information in my brain that I can draw on that'll tell me that I'll make this. And I'm going into my future, and I don't know what this looks like because I'm not really that good at predicting the future. So as I project into the future and as I look into the past, I don't have enough that's telling me that what I am in right now I will overcome. So I must then conclude that I won't overcome it. I got it. Because all I really have is my body and my brain, and that's it. And so as a result, I can pretty much say that I can't. There are people like this all the time. You can't even finish a sentence and they tell you that you can't. You tell them something about themselves and they're already proving to you. You ever have this conversation with somebody, maybe even with ourselves? You're trying to give them encouragement to do something that you know they can do, and they're fighting with you, proving to you that they're less than you think they are. It's like the most amazing thing. You can do this. No, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. How do you know? I've never done this. Well, how do you know I'm looking at you. I think you can do this. You don't know me. I can't. It's like, what? Why are you proving to me that you're worse than I think you are? Because they're living in the world of what I have is who I am. They're living in do have be. They're living in the world of physical. There's nothing that's a part of them that they draw on in which they think that they're more than what's right in front of them. They can't act as if. They don't even know what that means. They're living, and their present is being constrained from their past and from their future. Which, by the way, they have very little, even not forget control, we have very little ability to even remember. We remember very little about what really went on in the past, and we are really bad at the future. And if there's anything this period of time is teaching us, is that we're bad at the future. Nobody in a million years could have predicted life in April from the perch of January. But when we realize that there's something inside us that's bigger, there's an energy source that's so much bigger than the world around us. What, just by the recognition, forget what that means, just by the recognition of that, we start to create space that gives expression to that intangible energy called the soul, which is dynamic, which can change in a moment, which really could, which could develop through one real deliberate change. When that soul starts to guide us, we realize that we are multiple things a day. We can be a lawyer and a dad and a son and a father and a brother. We can, and each of the things that we do can just be one larger representation of this deeper who we are. We go into the world and we recognize that if I've never been here before, that just means that here's a opportunity for who I am to be expressed in a new way. It changes us. We'll talk about this more. And for now, we have to start to at least identify it. We got to start living with it, no matter what your background is, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your denomination is. If your eyes are open, it's because you have a piece of something inside you that is divine. And until we can start to give expression to it, until we can start realizing that it's there, it's much harder for us to overcome what's in front of us. And that's my blessing for us for the weekend. And that's my homework for us for the weekend. Just start to hear that voice. Start to recognize that you're more than you think. Start to realize that there's a world called Be, Do, Have. And that's why we push past good and great to awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have an incredible weekend. Looking forward to seeing you. We'll be back here with God's help Sunday, 9 a.m. And hopefully every day for that week. And every week, hopefully. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to being in touch. Have an awesome day.